I could tell by the way he closed the door that this time, he wasn't coming back. No slamming. No yelling. Just this devastating, final kind of silence, the kind that makes your stomach drop before your mind can even catch up. And the worst part? I didn't even realize what I'd done, not in that moment. I thought I was just being funny. Clever. Witty, even. It wasn't until the laughter stopped and the room went quiet that I saw his face, the kind of hurt you can't take back once it's out there. I made a joke. One little joke. And I broke something I didn't even know was fragile. He just stood up, looked me dead in the eye, and walked out. I haven't slept since. And if I could go back and erase the words I said that night, I would. But now, all I can do is tell you the truth. Because once you hear it, you'll understand why he left. Before I tell you what happened next, make sure you're watching this alone. Because once I start, you're not going to want anyone else to hear it. My name is Maya. I'm 31 years old. I live in San Diego, and until 3 months ago, I thought I had the perfect relationship. Leo, my fiancé, was everything I thought I wanted in a man. Calm. Kind. Supportive. An old soul. He taught middle school art and actually liked his job. Who does that anymore? And me? I'm the opposite. I manage million-dollar corporate projects and make more in 1 quarter than he does in a year. I'm sharp, fast-talking, and always 10 steps ahead. I wear heels that scream, "Don't mess with me," and I've never cried at work. It worked. The balance. Or at least, I thought it did. Until the night I tore it all apart with a single sentence. My sister threw us a surprise engagement party at this swanky rooftop bar downtown. It was perfect, string lights, jazz music, signature cocktails. Everyone was there. My family. His coworkers. A few of my high-power colleagues. We were about 20 minutes in when I started feeling it, that buzz from 2 glasses of champagne and being the center of attention. Someone made a toast. Then another. Then it was my turn. I didn't plan on saying much, just something short and sweet. But once I had the mic, I couldn't help myself. I wanted to be memorable. I just want to thank everyone for being here, I started. Especially Leo, for proving that a woman really can have it all, a job, a condo, a retirement plan, and a man who's completely fine with being the housewife. It got a laugh. A big one. I smiled. That rush of approval? It's addictive. So I kept going. I mean, let's be honest, I said, turning toward him. We all know I'm the alpha in this relationship. Leo's idea of ambition is remembering to defrost chicken before I get home. More laughter. But not from Leo. He was smiling, kind of, that tight, polite smile people wear at office parties when they'd rather be anywhere else. I saw it. And ignored it. Honestly, I went on, when I first met Leo, I thought he was a barista. Turns out, he was just an underpaid teacher with great hair. That was the one. The laugh that came after was too loud. Too long. Even my dad winced. Leo stood up. Didn't say a word. He walked across the rooftop, down the stairs, and into the night. At first, I thought maybe he was going to the bathroom or getting some air. But then 5 minutes passed. Then 10. I checked my phone. No text. No call. Just gone. The mood changed immediately. People avoided eye contact. My sister gave me this tight smile and tried to steer attention back to the cake. But the party was over. I stood there, holding a half-empty flute of champagne and the sick realization that maybe I'd gone too far. When I finally got home that night, the apartment was dark. Leo's keys weren't in the bowl by the door. His shoes weren't on the mat. He hadn't come home. I called him twice. Straight to voicemail. I didn't sleep. The next morning, I heard the front door unlock at 7:02 a.m. He walked in, calm as ever, set his keys down, and went straight to the bedroom. "Leo," I said, following him. "Can we talk?" He didn't look at me. Just opened his drawer and grabbed a clean shirt. "Where were you?" I asked. He pulled the shirt over his head. "At Miles's place." "Leo, come on. That was a joke. A dumb one. But people were laughing." He finally looked at me. Not angry. Not sad. Just tired. "Maya," he said, "do you know how many times I've heard you make fun of me? My job. My salary. My friends. My car." I opened my mouth to respond, but he kept going. "You've made me a punchline. And I've let you. But last night, you did it in front of my coworkers. My students' parents. Your boss. My parents." I blinked. "Your parents were there?" He nodded. "They left early. My mom cried in the elevator." That hit me harder than I expected. "I didn't know," I started. "I know," he said. "You never do." He walked into the bathroom and shut the door. And I stood there, trying to figure out how I became the villain in a story I thought I was writing. The silence that followed over the next few days was brutal. Not icy. Not angry. Just hollow. He'd answer questions, sure. But only the ones that required answers. "Do you want dinner?" "Already ate." "Do you have class today?" "Always do." "Are you okay?" Silence. I tried to apologize. I did. But the words kept sounding fake coming out of my mouth. Maybe because I wasn't used to apologizing. Or maybe because I still didn't believe I'd done anything that wrong. Until the Friday after. That's when I saw it. I came home early, hoping we could talk. But when I opened the front door, there was a suitcase by the couch. And Leo, standing next to it, holding a folded pile of clothes. "Are you going somewhere?" I asked, trying not to sound panicked. He didn't look up. Miles offered me his guest room for a while. I said yes. "Wait. Hold on. Leo. I need space, Maya," he said. "To think. To breathe. To decide if we're something I even want to fight for." That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about a joke. It never was. I tried to laugh it off. "You're being dramatic. We've had worse fights." He finally looked at me. "No. You've won worse fights. That's different." And with that, he picked up his suitcase, opened the door. And left. No slamming. No yelling. Just that silence again, so loud I could hear my own guilt echoing back at me. I waited all night for him to call. He didn't. I wish I could say that was the moment I realized what I'd done. But the truth? It took losing control to realize I never really had it to begin with. The apartment felt different without him. Not empty, not at first. Just still. I'd walk through the kitchen and expect to hear him humming some stupid jingle under his breath. Or find one of his half-finished sketches on the table. But there was nothing. Just silence and my own unease, growing louder every day. At first, I waited. I figured he just needed a few days. A week, maybe. He'd come back. He always did. Leo wasn't the type to hold a grudge. But he didn't. He texted once. "I'll swing by Saturday to grab a few things." That was it. No heart emoji. No love you. Just logistics. I told myself not to panic. That if I acted too desperate, it would push him further away. So I waited until he came. He showed up on Saturday afternoon. Same calm expression. Same too kind voice that somehow made it worse. "Hey," I said as he stepped inside. How have you been?" He didn't smile. "Fine." He walked past me, straight to the bedroom, and started pulling clothes from the closet. I just stood there, watching the man I was supposed to marry pack up like a guest on his way out of a hotel room. "Leo, can we talk?" I asked. He paused, looked at me. "I don't know what to say, Maya. We already talked. You just didn't listen." "That's not fair," I snapped. "You walked out before I even had a chance to explain." He gave a dry laugh. "No. I walked out after years of not being heard. I didn't know how to respond to that. Not because he was wrong, but because I didn't want to admit that he might be right." He zipped up the suitcase and stood. "Leo, please," I said, my voice suddenly breaking. "I didn't mean to hurt you." "I know," he said quietly. "But you did." He left again. And this time, I felt it. That wasn't just space. That was distance. Over the next few weeks, I kept thinking about what he said. Years of not being heard. That line played on a loop in my head every time I walked past the spot he used to sit on the couch, or when I'd open the fridge and see his favorite yogurt untouched. I wanted to be angry. At him. At his friends. At anything. But the truth was, I was mostly angry at myself. So I decided to fix it. I started texting him more. Asking how he was doing. Suggesting we meet up. Coffee. Dinner. A walk. Anything. Most of the time, he didn't respond. When he did, it was polite. Cordial. But distant. It drove me insane. How could someone go from sleeping next to me every night, to texting me like I was a coworker? I started stalking his Instagram. Something I hadn't done in years. He'd never been much of a poster, but now, it was like he had a whole new life. Pictures of him at art exhibits with his students. Coffee shop selfies with that guy Miles, who I now officially hated. And then one day, I saw her. A girl. Curly brown hair. Bright yellow dress. Standing next to him at some gallery opening. Nothing intimate. No hand-holding. No kiss. But the way he was looking at her? I knew that look. That was the way he used to look at me. I threw my phone across the room. I told myself it didn't matter. That we were just on a break and he was doing what people do when they feel lonely. She was a distraction. Nothing more. But deep down, I knew the truth. He was changing. And I was still standing in the same place. The next time he came by the apartment, I tried a different tactic. I didn't beg. I didn't cry. I didn't even mention the party. I just acted normal. "Want coffee?" I asked, already brewing his favorite blend. Hazelnut with oat milk. I remembered this time. He blinked, surprised. Sure. We sat at the counter, like we used to. And for a few minutes, it felt almost normal. Then I ruined it. So, the girl in your photos, I said, stirring my coffee too fast. She knew? He didn't flinch. You mean Harper? She's a friend. From where? Community mural project. I've been helping out on weekends. Oh, I said. That's cool. He nodded, sipping his drink. She's good at what she does. And kind. I could feel my jaw tighten. Does she know you're still technically engaged? He looked at me then, long and steady. I'm not trying to replace you, Maya. I'm just trying to remember who I am without you. That cut deeper than I expected. You make it sound like I erased you, I said. You didn't erase me, he replied. You just talked over me. For years. There it was again. The accusation dressed as honesty. And I couldn't argue with it without proving his point. He finished his coffee and stood. Thanks for the drink, he said, grabbing his keys. I'll be by next weekend to get the rest of my canvases. Leo, I said, my voice trembling, are we done? He didn't answer right away. Just walked to the door, hand resting on the knob. We might be, he said softly. But I don't want to be angry when I make that decision. I want to be sure. And with that, he left. Again. Only this time. I didn't cry. I just sat there, staring at the coffee cup he left behind, still half full, still warm, and realized something I'd never admitted before. I didn't know how to be loved by someone I couldn't control. And now that I'd lost him, I wasn't sure I'd ever get that chance again. It took Leo exactly 8 weeks to come back. Not to stay. Not even to talk. Just to pick up the last of his things. He messaged the night before. Coming by around 3 tomorrow. Want to avoid traffic. I stared at the message for 10 minutes before responding with a simple okay. I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying every conversation, every look, every word I could have said differently. But most of all, I replayed the silence. Because the silence was louder than any fight we ever had. When he walked in the next afternoon, something was different about him. He didn't seem cold. Or angry. He just seemed done. And that scared me more than anything. Hey, I said. He nodded. Hey. I watched him move around the apartment, our apartment, like he didn't recognize it anymore. Like every corner had already been wiped clean of meaning. Do you want water or? I'm good, he said quickly. I nodded, my throat tight. He moved to the living room where he'd left a stack of framed sketches and a rolled-up canvas. He picked them up slowly, like he was saying goodbye to each one. You're really not coming back, I said suddenly. He didn't answer right away. I don't think so, he finally said. I've been happier, Maya. Not lighter. Not less emotional. Just more myself. You weren't yourself with me? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. I was what you needed me to be, he said. But somewhere along the way, I stopped recognizing the person I saw in the mirror. I laughed, bitter. So this is it? You meet some artsy mural girl and now you're just, what? Healed? Whole? Enlightened? He turned to face me. No. That's not what this is. Harper isn't some magical rebound. She's a friend. A kind one. Who listens? I hated how calm he was. How long were you unhappy? I asked. He looked at me. A long time. I just didn't realize it until I saw how much better it felt to be treated like I mattered. That cracked something inside me. I didn't mean to treat you like you didn't, I whispered. I know, he said. But impact matters more than intention. I walked toward him, slowly. Leo, can we fix this? He sighed, and for a moment I saw something flicker across his face. Regret. Sadness. Love, maybe, the kind that's too bruised to stand on its own. We tried, he said. You said counseling. You never booked it. You said you'd change, but only after I left. It shouldn't take losing someone to respect them. I was scared, I admitted. Scared you'd leave if I didn't stay in control. He nodded. You were controlling because you were afraid. I was passive because I wanted peace. Neither of us knew how to actually love each other. Tears slid down my cheeks, hot and unwanted. I love you, I said, voice cracking. I believe you, he replied. But sometimes love isn't enough. Not if it's laced with resentment. I felt like the floor was giving out beneath me. I don't want to start over, I said. I don't want to date strangers or pretend I don't miss you every time someone else texts me. You think I do, he said, finally letting emotion show. You think I wanted this? I still love you too, Maya. But love can't survive when one person keeps shrinking just to make the other feel big. I sat down on the couch, head in my hands. He stayed standing. A few minutes passed in silence. Will you at least call me, sometimes? I asked. I don't think that's a good idea, he said softly. I need to keep moving forward. He picked up his sketchbooks, tucked them under his arm, and started toward the door. And then he paused. I hope you find someone who sees all your fire, and doesn't feel burned by it, he said. But who also stands next to you, not under you. And then, he left. This time, I didn't cry right away. I just sat there. The truth is, I had always thought Leo was the quiet one. The gentle one. The man who'd never leave. But he did. Because even the quiet ones break when you don't make space for them to breathe. And now? I scroll through my feed, see his smile, and wonder what it would have been like if I'd listened sooner. If I'd let him be the man he was, instead of the version I thought I needed. The punchline is, I was the strong one. Until I wasn't. And he was the weak one. Until he walked away. And now I finally understand. The joke wasn't funny. It never was.